We left our home on Sunday evening at 9 p.m. and went 6 blocks away to my parents', my in-laws' home.
My mom and them called and said, "Hey, Dee Dee needs a ride down to the boat. Your brother's already there. They're fixing to go out and ride out the storm." I said, "Nah, that ain't gonna work." So anyways, I went and helped them put the shutters up and took him down to the boat with all his gear and everything. And he wanted me to go, my brother did. And I talked Steve-O into going, which was my roommate. And because he was going to bring his son, but we talked him out of that.
My brother-in-law and my nephew were going into the charter fishing boat business. They had bought this 48-foot fishing boat, and they had to take it out to a safe harbor. The hurricane was supposed to turn north like most of them do, so they went south into Caesars Creek, right outside of Elliott Key, and put their boat in what they call a hole in the wall there, and there's a concrete dock.
I had put some bedrolls underneath the dinner table and told my daughter that, you know, if it gets rough, we're going to get under the table here. And my 10-year-old thought that was pretty funny. And her comment was, "Yeah, right."
Anybody that was in their last trimester was to go to the hospital. And the spouse could not stay with them. And of course, the theory is that when the pressure drops, babies come.
The last words when he was leaving the dock, he said, "Well," he says, "worst possible case." He said, "If you know, this thing's to build up and be bad, come straight in and hit us at night." He said, "It's the only thing that'll mess us up." He said, "Other than that," he says, "you know, everything's going to be all right." And that's just about what happened.
About 2:30, I woke up to a still, eerie calm. It was just an unbelievable sensation. Everybody was up, and one thing I remember telling my children is just to leave your shoes on, leave your clothes on. We were not in bed clothes, we were in our regular clothes with our shoes on. And my mother-in-law had just lit a hurricane lamp because the power had gone out. I just didn't have a lot of faith in that hurricane lamp. I said, "We've got plenty of flashlights, everybody's got a flashlight, let's extinguish that." And as I did, the first really bad wave hit. And with that wave, it broke the only window in the house that was not boarded up.
They went out to fix the tuna door, and while Tommy and Steve were working on the door, they turned around to ask Dee Dee something, and he was gone. Ranger station that was on shore was coming apart, and Tommy got hit by a 2x6, and he was killed instantly.
We slept in the hallway, my brother and I. My parents slept in their bedroom, and we pulled some mattresses in the hallway, and that was the most sheltered area in the house, and that's where we slept. And probably about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, when it really started picking up, was when my parents came down the hallway. Everybody was sort of waking up around the same time, and we just sort of ducked and covered for a little while until it really started to hit hard.
We ran out towards the bathroom, and I remember looking back at our bedroom, and I will never forget, it was like, I felt like those movies they show on Poltergeist. It was like, I remember my underwear drawer had been totally sucked out and was just going round and round, and my bras and panties were falling out. It was, I mean, I couldn't believe what was happening.
Ceiling had collapsed. And now with my mother-in-law and her dog and my 2 children under the table, we grabbed anything that we could to cover the dinner table, and then held the dinner table covers down with the chairs from around the dinner table and put an ice chest in each of the chairs, made somewhat of an igloo for them to be underneath while the storm was in the house, with debris blowing in the house.
I remember being there at the Hurricane Center when Andrew made landfall, and our building that we were in at the time, the Coral Gables, was actually swaying a little bit, and then about 4:30 we heard a crash, and we knew what it was. It was the radar blowing off the roof of our building.
After about 45 minutes or an hour, I kept hearing things breaking, and I thought, well, that's stuff that's already broken, just breaking into smaller pieces. And I put up with that for a while. It sounded like a train coming, just that whistle, just that long whistle. And that went on for about 45 minutes. After a while, I'd had about all I could take of that, and I just put the Walkman in my ears and turned up the volume and waited till the storm pretty well passed.
Looking out the window, I could see our sliding doors were actually bowing. And you wouldn't think glass could bend, but there were 8-inch bows in the glass on our sliding doors.
I had a terrible earache, and my eardrum actually exploded on my left side from the pressure.
That's when the eye hit. And everything calmed down real quick for a minute. So we went out to see what the damage was going on.
We all came out from under the table, and my husband looked out, and he wanted to sort of survey what had happened. As he opened the door literally flew out of his hands, and the cowboy hat was sucked off the top of his head, and it went straight up like it was on the end of a vortex.
Communication started going because, as the storm approached the coast, it started cutting power, and of course we have standby generators, so we had lights and stuff like that. I don't think even at that time they realized the intensity of the storm.
And my husband looks up and goes, "Oh my God, let's get out of here." And we looked up, and there was like a hole like at least 3 to 4 feet in diameter that had been totally sucked up. And so we saw sky and everything. It was just soaking wet. So we ran out and we went out to the hallway with the 3 boys and my my mother-in-law. And we were trying to calm her down because she could not understand what was going on.
And I thought, we're not going to make this. This is just the first half of the storm. Storms usually last 10, 12 hours. We've only been in this about 2 hours. And I just thought, this is bad. This is really bad.
Then it was Nikki who looked up and said, "Daddy, are we going to die?" And I remember my husband saying, "Nikki, I don't think so, honey, but I think the Lord is permitting this to teach us a lesson that an hour ago we had a beautiful home, 4-bedroom, really nice corner home. And right now our home is gone, but we do have each other."
The third man on the boat crawled in the bait box and stayed there throughout the hurricane for 3 or 4 hours until the Coast Guard found him and rescued him out of there.
South Dade County, where our Homestead Fuel Station is located in the city of Homestead city limits on 312th Street, is essentially in a flood zone, and we have to evacuate from that location. And our alternate site for staging our people was Pump Station 331, which is located at Southwest 168th Street and 197th Avenue. At about 6:30 a.m. On August 24th, we were in contact with our folks at that pump station via our telemetry system telephone. And while we were talking to them, the manager at the station informed us that the wind was blowing so hard that it was pushing the air conditioner that was mounted in the wall back into the building. And during the course of that conversation, a large bay door at the end of the pump station blew in. The skylights in the building blew out and essentially turned the pump station into a wind tunnel. At that particular point in time, the telephone line went dead, and I had turned to my supervisor who was in the control room with me, and I looked at him and I said, "I think I just lost 47 people."
You are so unprepared that you can't imagine. We went to our last place of hiding, and everyone else that I talked to after the storm were in their last place of hiding.